wonderful or whatever, but I strive to be the best at everything that I do, because I want to master it and I want to learn more. And I do have a hard time finding that in my, day-to-day professional full-time job, is because I aim to be the best. And right now I kind of am. I'm the go-to. I know everything. I have all the answers. And the person that I want to go to for the answers isn't really, I don't even know the words to describe it, but yes. So I feel like that was a really big thing for me too, is finding a way to surround myself with people who are better than me. Like in the Beachbody business, I have lots of those people like Kimberly and Megan. I like to keep myself, they're doing what I want to be doing, and I feel like when they're saying maybe like someone better than you, someone who knows more, someone who's doing more, someone who's, someone who you want to kind of, model yourself after. But I agree that that's definitely a good takeaway, but maybe brainstorming and finding a way to make that happen is definitely, so I'm right there with you on that. Anybody else? Takeaways?
I'll share mine.
Okay.
I just had to talk. I need to talk. No,
I know, go for it.
But everyone needs to share. So your takeaway though, Krista, is I've been on a couple of these calls with leaders that I'm on in other groups, and that's the most popular one that we've kind of been talking about, is who you surround yourself with and who lifts you up and who doesn't lift you up. And really, why are we hanging out with people that don't lift us up? I mean, we only get one life. We only are here for a certain amount of time. Like, why do you want to be around people that aren't lifting you up, right? And that's still even hard, though. Like I shared with the group, and I'll share with you guys, is that I have some close friends in the area that, I would consider my best friends in this area. And I can't say that they're super supportive of Beachbody, not like bashing Beachbody. I've been doing it for 2 years. They're obviously really proud of what I've done physically for myself and how I'm in a better place. But, they don't buy the products. They're obviously not coaches. And they're not necessarily really happy for my success. So I feel like, it's one of those things where people are saying, whether they're directly saying it to my face or not, they're saying that I'm growing or I'm changing, and they're saying it kind of in a negative light. And, listening to this call was pretty eye-opening, because I liked hearing him say, he said, if you're not changing, you're not growing.
Right. Yes.
So I'm growing. You're right. I am changing. And I really like where I'm going. So I'm sorry that you're not going with me, because not everyone can go with me. Believe me, I'd like to bring everyone with me, but there's different points in your business that you have to draw a line in the sand and say, this is where I'm going. Like, you can cross the line and come with me, or you can stay back behind. Like, you can, John says it a lot too. He says, you can have my heart, but you can't have my time. And the whole, like, I'm on a wall, I'm building a bridge. I can't come down. Like, I can't come down I can still be your friend, but this is what I'm doing. This is where I'm going. And this is way bigger than, having a best friend necessarily in the area that I live in. Like, this is my family. And like, I have big goals. Like, I'm going to build a legacy. Like, I'm going to leave something amazing to my children. And that's not going to happen in a year or two, but I love the idea of like having goals that aren't going to happen in this decade. Like, I think that's how big we have to grow. So that was one of my, my last 3 points for the things I wanted to work on. And that was be around helping other people grow. Like, my goal is this year to help everyone on this call grow. Like, that's my main focus and my main goal. And be in a place where people really desire change. I feel like that's where we are. This is what I think you guys are looking for. And number 10 is growth is modeled and expected. So that's put on my shoulders that I need to be growing and I need to be a model, and you guys need to expect that out of me. So, at least we're in an environment where I want to be I want to be called out by you guys. That's why we are going to have a leader different every month. Like, that's Krista, call me out if I'm not growing. Like, you're the leader. Like, we have to see that in each other though, and help each other grow for this to work for the next year. If we're all just in our little box or our little bubble and worrying about ourselves and not helping the person next to you, it's not going to work nearly as well. So those were my takeaways. Next, someone?
I can go next.
Okay.
My biggest takeaway was about your focus always being forward. And when he started talking about being in control of your life and your calendar, I thought that was a big deal, because I feel like I've always kind of put everything else like on the calendar about like what other people are doing and what I need to do for other people, and not what I need to do for me. So I know that I need to focus what I want first, and kind of focus on that and put those things on the calendar that I need to do to move forward for myself, so that I can keep growing. I don't have a lot.
I'm with you on that. The who's filling your calendar, that was my biggest takeaway. So many times I wake up in the morning and, well, this goes with the excitement thing too, and I'll think, oh, I'm going to substitute today, and Beachbody can bring more money than substituting can bring. And I think to myself, why, if I just sell a couple challenge packs, I could be making more than what I'm making substituting. So I need to just fill my calendar better.
I agree.
Should I go ahead? Yes, no? Yes. So I think, well, both of those, everything everyone has said has resonated for me. Although for me, the sort of the being intentional with my time is more about like just the Beachbody stuff, because I am lucky enough that I sort of have a fair amount of time right now that I can dedicate it to it, but I definitely do there are so many things that kind of need to be done, and it's really hard for me to figure out, and just to sit down, like before I look at my computer, I need to just think through what is the most important thing, what's going to bring me the most, and I just don't really give myself that time. So that I think is a really important thing for me to be thinking about. But I also found really interesting this idea of like who brings out the best in you, because I really couldn't answer. I had a very hard time answering who brings out the best in me and who do I bring the best out in. And I think, Kimberly, you're talking about your sort of best friends in your area, and that they aren't happy for you and sort of your success and what you're doing. And for me, I honestly haven't spoken a whole lot with my friends from back home about it. And part of that's like a nervousness about being judged and, a whole bunch of things, which is also why I haven't really posted much on Facebook about Beachbody. And had a conversation with one of my two best friends the other day that left me feeling like, yeah, I was right to be nervous about all of this. And not more like, well, in any event, I'm getting into too much detail for you guys, but I she's been my best friend since we were a year old, 41 years together. I'm not going to give her up. Now, is she a huge presence in my life right now? No, she lives in New Haven, Connecticut, and I live in California. And she's like a sister to me, but it's not like she has that much effect on my day-to-day happiness or goals or anything, because I just don't get to see her that often. But there is sort of like a knowledge that there are these people out there, and that that what they think, they are of enough importance to me that what they think really does affect kind of how confident I am going forward with it. And when I tried to think about who brings out the best in me, I actually kind of thought it's sort of like acquaintances or like not so great friends probably bring out the best in me, because my best friends, it's like, you get catty and you get, there's like you're able to sort of go to a not as nice place. And it's the people who, the people who you don't know quite as well, who you get to have a more positive interaction with. And I think that was really interesting for me to think about, because I do feel like in general now, that's the kind of energy that I have with all of my friends now, whether they're close friends or acquaintances, but like only because I've been changing. So anyway, sorry, that was my long 50 cents.
But it was good. I understand that for sure. I think I'll say one of my things that, and I hear it all the time, because Kimberly reminds me all the time that, and one thing I want to share with you is as far as the posting on Facebook and sharing that. And a lot of that, even though sometimes when I hear it, I think it sounds like I don't like the way it sounds, but it's our ego. And I've read a couple articles and seen a couple things lately that the reality is that you should share it because you're proud of it. You're happy about what you're doing, and you're becoming successful in it, and you're helping people. I mean, that's really what you're doing. And I'm always so nervous about sending invites. I'm always so nervous about what people are going to say when I post something up there. And Kimberly reminds me to just do it. It's my ego. To just put it aside and not care. And the reality is this weekend I took a lot of that away from like after Super Saturday and some conversations we had, and I just started posting things. And can I just tell you, I posted a post about cantaloupe, me eating cantaloupe versus ice cream. Do you know how many likes that thing got? I was shocked at how many likes people like on my cantaloupe. And here I am, like, this is something I would normally post on my Instagram or on my like page. Not something I would really normally post on my regular page because I'm like, do they really want to see that? Well, apparently they want to see me eating cantaloupe and blowing off the So I'm telling you, post on Facebook and just, do it. And I mean, as long as you're not shoving anything down anyone's throat, which I know you're not going to, I found that I really just started pressing send and just not caring what anyone thinks because they can scroll right by it like they do everything else that they don't want to look at. I've learned, it's true. I scroll by stuff I don't want to look at, and I'm not judging anyone as I'm going. I just skip over it. So I just remind myself every time I think of something, but someone out there is watching you. So, and someone who wants your help and needs your help, and the other people, they'll just keep scrolling by it. Thanks, Kimberly. Thanks, Megan. You guys are really good at that.
Oh, me. Oh, my. Okay, well, that kind of leads into what my biggest takeaway was. And that was the whole not being scared to fail thing. It's not that I haven't heard it 365,000 times. It's just that I think sometimes I kind of let that get in the way. Like, I know, don't worry about it. What's the worst thing that can happen? You're going to fail and you're going to get right back up and try another way. But for some odd reason, for me, that just is something that's a little more difficult. So I'm going to do my best to make failure my friend and use my failures to teach people and help other people learn from them.
That was also my biggest takeaway too. And I wrote down where your passion to try must be greater than your fear of failure. I don't know why that resonated with me so much. I think because I have equally ruby and sapphire, and I have such a competitive personality in certain things, but the most I have competitive is with myself. And I'm always constantly trying to be better than I was before. And I feel like sometimes I just take on way too much and then I just shut down. I was talking to Kimberly before this call about it, that sometimes if I know that I get overwhelmed really easily, I just shut down because I don't want to fail. I don't want to seem like I'm not being genuine because, I'm afraid that I'm going to fail. I don't want to feel that way, So it's about being it's also kind of about making yourself comfortable, but I don't know. And I also wrote down failure does not control you either. And sometimes I feel like that I kind of lose control of my, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but sometimes, I mean, control is an illusion because you can't control anything. So it's like, you might as well just go ahead and try. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry, Megan, I didn't mean to cut you off.
And to look at failure as like a, not something that defines you. But right. I'm the same way. Like I feel like, there's a fear of that, what it would mean about me and what people would think about me. But you know, anyone who's living life well should fail at things, right? Because that's how you are growing and changing, which John says we should always be doing.
I agree.
Now who's going?
Carmen.
I'll go. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Just to pre-warn you, I have a house full of kids right now. So if you hear little ones crying, they don't like my dog. My sister's still in town with my nieces, so they're over for dinner. Someday she'll be on this call with us, maybe, Kimberly. Again. So the biggest thing, or my biggest takeaway, is definitely by far, if I'm going to grow, I'm going to change. This goes with everything I do, as far as my own journey, my own weight loss, as well, that along with my coaching. I want to succeed in this so badly. I think probably all of you know by now, I want this to be my full-time income. It's always my number one thing, and I don't devote enough time to it. I have to change things because it's just, you know, if it's what I want, which it is, it's something that I'm going to have to just go for. And it's frustrating at times finding the time, which I'm sure all of you can relate to that. You know, being torn in a million different ways. So basically I just have to change things, and I have to do it. I have to. There's no ifs or ands or buts about it. So that was my huge epiphany. I've got to change. I've got to change what I want in order to succeed and to do what I want to do. So it was a huge eye-opener, and it's exactly what I wanted to get out of the call. So that's it.
It's a good one. Okay. Brenda? Haven't heard from Brenda yet.
I can't hear.
Okay, I can't hear her either.
Turn your volume up, Brenda.
Yeah.
Oh, Brenda conveniently broke her microphone, so she didn't have to talk. Try to play with it. Someone's on the phone. Who's on the phone?
Is it Adrian?
Adrian, is that you on the phone? Somebody's on the phone.
Yeah.
Speak up.
I know Adrian said she was doing her power hour and calling in.
Yeah, she might just not be able to unmute herself, maybe.
Maybe.
Or doesn't want to talk in the middle of Starbucks.
Let Starbucks know how awesome it is to work with us, ladies.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see if she jumps on or if Brenda starts working. All right. What are some of the questions we're supposed to answer, Kristen?
All right. So some of the questions are, what are some of the distractions in your life?
My child.
That is mine.
He has distracted me like 10 times in the middle of this call already, and I want to choke his father.
I think like something for me is like dealing with work and also school, like that's like a huge problem for me. That's like one of the biggest reasons why I fall off, is because of like trying to juggle all those things. But the problem is like there's two things there that I want. So like I want to be successful with Beachbody, but then also like I want to be successful at school. I think that I'm already successful at work, but like there's other things that build up on the side and they just seem like excuses to me.
Yeah. That's the same for me too. I feel like the biggest distraction for me right now is work. I mean, I've been working later and later every single day. It seems like I can't seem to get out of that hole at work. So then you come home from work and then you got to find the time to work out, find the time to sit down, take care of my daughter, give her a bath, cook dinner. And then you're just exhausted at the end of the day, you know? And it is an excuse. It really is an excuse. And I'm struggling right now to try to find that balance to keep everything on an even keel, you know, because right now it's just like all out of whack. So
I told Kristen, I talked to her earlier about the whole balance issue, and I know a lot of you have seen the buckets training from summer, but if not, I'm gonna tag her in it so it will come to the top in Team Ignite, and I can possibly repost it in our group. But it's an excellent training on balancing your time and your life and your buckets, and kind of plays into the distraction thing. My own distractions personally are is Facebook. It's just social media. I'm not intentional with my time, and it's a huge time sucker. And instead of like having my focus and interest group set up and like just looking at those people, like I just get sucked into really, and then I'm like looking at, no offense, but all of you, like I'm looking at like things that like, you don't need me to like your post. Like I like to see that you're posting, but not even all of you. Like I'd like to see you, but I see like all the other coaches that we're friends with, you know, as you're in this business longer and longer, you're just going to have more and more friend coaches and more friend requests. And I mean, some of these people, you start accepting friend requests and I don't even know who they are. Like they're Beachbody coaches and they saw this invite training or that. But then they're in my news feed. So that's my distraction. It's just Facebook in general. Total time suckage. If I could I just have to stop. Like I have to stop. I don't have a good, like my kids are in school. I don't have a job. Like I did dip chocolate all day. That was kind of a distraction. But other than that, like it's just me. Just stop wasting time. That's mine.
Yeah, let's work on that together because I'm terrible about that as well.
Yeah.
Terrible.
I'm with you.
Intentional with our time. Like sit down, and I watched a thing today on, I don't know if anyone, I think Krista, you watch it, the Darren Daily that you can get like via text or whatever. Today's was really good actually. They're always really good, but sometimes I don't have time to do that. Like it's a minute. I'm like, how do you not have time to do that? But you can sit and look at Facebook for 30 minutes, like stupid. So the one today though was actually about how Tuesday is the most productive day of your week. And it is for most other people too. So on Tuesdays, you shouldn't schedule like, necessarily meetings like this or lunch meetings or anything like that, because like people are focused, they want to get stuff done. It sounded like a great day to send invites because it sounded like people would be like ready to read their email and get back to you right away. It's whatever, for whatever reason, they did a study and Tuesday is the most productive day. But he said on those days, especially Tuesdays and Wednesday, Thursday, you should like sit down to do your work and not have your phone. Hi, girls. How you doing? This is my other distraction.
Dee, I love you.
So anyways, she what was I saying? See, distraction.
Thursdays.
Okay, so to sit down, I thought this was great advice on the topic we were talking about. To sit down and have like an hour and a half So like our power hour, power 90 minutes, whatever, of uninterrupted time, like without Facebook open, even though I know we invite on Facebook, but so not go to the news feed and not have your phone in front of you. Because that's what happens to me. Like I'll even start inviting and then my messages start popping up and I'll answer, and I'm happy to do it, but it's like stupid of me. Like instead of writing Megan right back or Sarah right back or Krista right back, like I should just stop and complete what I'm doing. Like, so get through my invites or get through my forming or get through that, because then all of a sudden I only gave myself like 30 minutes and I spent 15 minutes of it's doing something else. So he was talking about having a power hour where it's not any of this distractions that we're all talking about. I know the work thing, but so many of you, I told Kristen this tonight, I was like, so many of the team have full-time jobs. Like you're not alone. I mean, most of this call has full-time jobs or very heavy part-time jobs or is in school or that's the majority of this call on here. So y'all are not alone and you can make it work. Promise.
I've been pretty amazed on the national wake-up calls, just like the number of people who kind of say and I started waking up at 5 a.m. so I could get my power hour. And I'm like, I can't imagine myself doing that. I'm not a morning person. Those of you who wake up to work out, completely incomprehensible to me. But so I don't have to make that decision. I listen to them saying this and I'm like, wow, that is a level of drive that, that's pretty intense. And especially in the early days when you're not really seeing a return on it yet, putting that extra, getting up an hour earlier than the rest of your family so that you can be at the computer before a long day, taking care of kids and working and all of that is a lot. I mean, that is a hard thing to figure out how you fit that into your day. But I think the intentional time stuff, for me, I find it really confusing because even if I'm not I don't look at the news feed really, but I'm still trying to learn and figure out, well, how is it that I add value to people if I'm not just looking through their pages, right? And so that means that I just need to be jumping around and scrolling through people's pages. People don't post nearly often enough for me to be able to understand what's going on in their lives or to add any value is what I'm finding. But I feel like I'm not intentional enough with my time, but a lot of it's just because there are so many things that we could be learning and we could be doing at any moment in Beachbody. And it's like, okay, well, the inviting, fine. I love this idea. You invite on one day and sit down and you get it done. But then the rest of the month, I don't need to invite. And so it makes it easy again for me to be jumping around, but all of that stuff takes time to look at all of my challengers and to be posting into the groups that I'm running and translating everything into Spanish. And, it just is, that's like a power hour right there. So I'm not really sure how to streamline that part, but.
Yeah.
Do you guys normally do power hour every single day of the week?
I do.
I am so bad. I'm so bad about power hour.
I'm not consistent either. I'm getting better.
I don't do it every day for sure.
I'm not consistent.
4 or 5. I know.
Y'all do it. Start with a half an hour and then try to get an hour in on the weekends. Do a half hour. Honestly, when I started, it was 15 minutes. It wasn't what I do now. I put in more than an hour a day now, but I have to. When you have 100 people under your team, you're going to have to too. You're going to have those questions. That's going to come into the balancing the buckets too. When you're going to have a bucket, which is kind of your personal Beachbody business, your inviting and your challengers and your groups and that kind of stuff. And then you're going to have a whole other bucket, which is going to be the team underneath you. Because Summer will say, she's you think running just your own business or running 2 coaches underneath you, then wait till you have 100 and then wait till you have 500 and then wait till you have 7,000. That's complicated. That's complicated. So at least they're like kids. They just come one at a time.
That's what
And
people
also,
say.
they're like, oh, how do you have 3 boys that are like so close together? How do you do it? I'm like, they gave me one at a time. I didn't have to figure it out like all at once. Like one at a time, figure it out. So coach is the same way. But yeah, I'd say get consistent with a power hour or power 30 minutes. And you can break it up too, 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes on your lunch break, 15 minutes after work, 15 minutes after the kid goes to bed. And, but then you really have to be intentional with your time. Like you have to know what you're doing in those 15 minutes. It can't be like, oh, let me get on Facebook and dick around, for lack of a better term. Like you have to know, I'm going to invite for 15 minutes here, and I'm going to follow up 15 minutes here. I'm going to plan out my social media posts here. Like that's when you have to get intentional, when it's broken down like that. That's why I have mine's more willy-nilly, but I have the freedom to do that, luckily.
Well,
but
so
that's what I want you all to have the freedom to do.
I would say I spend well over an hour on Beachbody every day, but I almost never have a power hour. Like Brenda has a power hour and does this amazing number of things, and she's really clearly extremely focused about it. And for me, I'm not focused, so it's not like I wind up thinking like, wow, I just got so much done. So I don't know if that was your question or if it was just whether we actually put in an hour consistently each day. But again, yeah. I work from home. I've been ignoring my law practice. So.
I'm very productive on the weekends.
Yeah.
But like I said, when you go to work and then you come home and then you want to work out, and because the workouts and the nutrition, that's like one of my biggest priorities for myself. So
but it wasn't at one point. Like, you remember?
Yeah.
When it wasn't? It was a change. You had to make that change to grow as a person. This will be a change, and it won't be easy. It's not easy for people to give up their food and their wine and I'm talking about myself personally, but it's not easy to push play. Like, I hate it. I hated every minute of it today. But I have to do it. Like, I have to do it to grow as a person, to grow my business, to grow personally. And you have to make a change to grow this business. And that was not a priority for you at one time. So I picture you on this call in 6 months or a year from now, teaching someone else that it has to be a priority for them. Because you're going to say, and we're going to look back, and Kristen, you're going to say, oh, I didn't do that. It wasn't a priority for me then, but it is now. Just like with your fitness and nutrition. It's just a change. Okay, Kristen, I'm going to leave it with you to wrap it up because it's going to run out of time.
Okay. I guess the last thing I kind of want to just run across, and we don't really have time to go over it all, but I just want to make sure that everyone kind of really focus on the last part of the worksheet with the growth environment application in John's world. Like, others are ahead of you, challenging ourselves, and focus forward. So I just hope that everyone filled that out, because I wrote the people that I felt like were ahead of me that I wanted to start, following, that I wanted to be like. I wrote different things that would challenge myself. For example, taking charge, running this team call, finally stepping out of my comfort zone and really taking charge as a leader, even though I don't feel like I know everything, and that's my problem. I feel like I have to know everything before I can lead everyone else. And just focus forward. I wrote some really big goals for myself for the next year, and just along with my Beachbody business, and I just hope that everyone took that and find a place to put it. And I'm going to put it in the front of my Beachbody binder and just constantly remind myself of who's going to be ahead of me that I want to follow, and what's going to challenge me and what is my focus going forward. And I want to keep it somewhere so I can see it constantly and be reminded, because I felt like that was a very, very good things to constantly